Hello and welcome. You're watching Markets Today. I'm Sakshi Batra, and on this edition, we discuss everything about the stock markets, how the day has panned out for the stock markets, especially the benchmark, Sensex, and the Nifty, and what really were the highlights of today's trading session. What can you expect tomorrow as well, going forward from here? So, let's start off with the closing action. Of course, the day panned out to be super for both the benchmarks, the Sensex, and the Nifty. We've had a bright start and a bright closing as well. In fact, the Sensex and the Nifty have rebounded from yesterday's losses. After a day's breather, the bulls are back on the street as well. Very, very sharp gains coming in. The markets ended at the day's high point of today's trade. And when they talk about the Sensex, there was almost over 1,000 point gain towards the end of the session as well. Let's quickly talk about first the closing levels of the Sensex and the Nifty, and then I will talk about the other highlights of the session as well. Now, let's talk about the Sensex first. About 1,040 points up, 1.8% of an uptick today for the Sensex. It ended at 56,816. The Nifty also was higher by 312 points, almost 1.9% up in trade at 16,975. So 16,900 being reclaimed on the closing level, definitely a bit positive. 200 DMA achieves, and that is going to be some kind of a breather and may give some kind of a breathing space for the technical analysts to see that the markets can actually move forward from here in the positive direction. Now let's talk about the other stocks that were in focus. Ultratech Cement, Axis Bank, Shree Cement, IndusInd Bank, Bajaj Auto. The top Nifty 50 gainers today, there were just a few, three losers on the Nifty pack: Cipla, Sun Pharma, Tata Consumer Products, and slightly flat trend on Power Grid as well. All the sectoral indices ended in the green, with IT, oil and gas, metals, and realty rising by 2 to 3%. Realty index definitely stealing the show today, followed by metals and IT, oil and gas as well. The broader markets also reflecting the kind of momentum we've been seeing in the benchmarks, although a tad bit lower, but over a percent gain for both the mid cap and the small cap indices as well. In fact, the markets have recouped all of the previous day's losses, gained 1.5% as well, tracking the global counterparts right ahead of the outcome of the Federal Reserve policy meet that is slated to come out later tonight. And there is a wide expectation of a 25 basis points interest rate hike. If that happens, this will be the first interest rate hike since 2018 for the US Federal Reserve. Although the markets seem to have priced that in, the better part of the momentum was actually supported by the easing crude oil prices. Brent crude slipping below $100 a barrel from a long time. Continuously, the stock markets have been under pressure because of the crude oil prices rising and soaring high on the boil as well. We've seen the crude oil prices almost touch $140 a barrel, and there has been a sharp retracement from those levels, and that is definitely providing a much breathing space that was needed. India VIX, on the other hand, if you talk about that as well, which is the volatility index, the fear gauge also eased by 10 odd percent today. In fact, this was the lowest level that was seen in months, and it was trading around 24, 25 odd levels as well. Apart from this, the other highlights from the trade included Indigo, for example, was in focus. It soared by 5% as flights between India and Thailand resumed after 2 years. Hatson Agro also rose by 4% as chairman has bought stocks worth 25 crore rupees from the open market as well. Now, Everready shares added 3% as Burman Group fixes the open offer date as well. And Euroca Forbes also was in focus as it hit a 5% lower circuit on listing post demerger as well. Apart from this, what really contributed to the major indices today, it was the stocks like big heavyweights like Infosys, Reliance Industries, HDFC Twins, and TCS, the biggest contributors to the gain and the 1,000 point lift on the Sensex as well. Now, apart from this, we did speak to experts to understand what they made of the kind of trade that we have seen and what do we look forward from here. So Rahul Sharma from Equity 99 said that after yesterday's fall, markets today made a good comeback. Sensex gaining almost 1.9% due to fall in crude oil prices. As we move into tomorrow, there could be some volatile session because of a weekly expiry as well as Fed's meeting today, where some of the more important highlights and commentary details will come out and the markets will react to that tomorrow. Also, brutal FII selling is a factor to consider before taking any positions tomorrow. Considering the volatility, traders they advise to trade only keeping strict stop losses in place. For the Nifty 50, Rahul Sharma believes 16,900 will act as a strong support, post which the next support is at 16,800. Also, on the upper side, 17,050 will be acting as a strong resistance. 17,110 will be the next hurdle, and once that is level is broken on the top, then 17,200 could be seen as well. Overall speaking, all eyes will be on the US Federal Reserve later tonight, as the markets will be keeping a keen eye on that. With that, I wrap up on this edition, but we'll keep on bringing you all the updates that are buzzing on D Street so that you can take wisest decisions on your investments in stock markets. Do stay tuned on to Business Today for a lot more coming up, but don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks a lot for tuning in. For now.